distinguished faculty, graduates, parents, family, friends, anyone within the sound of my voice. This tennis stadium was not always here. I actually watched them build it, and I was kind of bummed out because it was my favorite bike path. Like probably right through there. Christine and I, my wife Christine's over there, and our daughters Allie, Elizabeth, and Isabella in the first row. Say hi, guys. Christine and I got married very young. We traveled the world, did some other stuff, and then we became non-traditional students here at UCLA. And about the time we accumulated enough units to be considered juniors, Allie came along. Christine spent her junior year studying a lot and being pregnant. And we spent our senior year as new parents. And on our graduation day, we dressed up Allie in a Bruin cheerleading outfit. Yeah. 14. Just graduated 8th grade. I'm very proud of you, honey. It seems to me altogether fitting and proper to come home to Westwood. Our UCLA experience, I feel like I should say something about our UCLA experience. What does the view of that look like now? I remember certain things, you know, you had to develop patience and learn how to budget your time, and if you carried your backpack over both shoulders, kind of double strapping, that you'd get made fun of, but they were heavy. There really is a significant difference between North Campus and South Campus, and I can't explain it. Right about it. I always found it a good idea to call the professor's bluff and show up at their office hours. The key object of which was, you know, the difference between an A- and a B+, namely having the ability, you know, and the willingness to kiss a little butt. Do they still have the teriyaki bowls in the cafeteria over there at North Campus? You guys have no idea. I had a love-hate relationship with those stupid teriyaki bowls. Parking, still miserable. It was miserable then. And when the jacarandas are in bloom, as they are now, the university takes on a decidedly romantic air. I've often noted that commencement addresses they focus on the need for ambition. You know? You go out there and drive, you're going to succeed, and I'm sure your parents are both thrilled for your achievement and a little terrified about this next 6 months and, you know, whether or not you're going to finally accept your fate, or at the very least figure out how you're going to make a living for the next few years. With 3 daughters, I get where they're coming from, but I'm not panicked anymore. There's one thing I know, and that's you'll all be fine. Most of you. Everyone knows that an English degree has many practical applications in the world. It does. Really. You heard him. I mean, he said a whole bunch of them. I was kind of in shock. I'm like, wow, I never heard that list, man. But here's some guidance, okay, for you, just some practical guidance, okay? When somebody says, so what are you going to do with your English degree? For the sake of the department, please do not get a blank look on your face and say, Rather, perhaps with a twinkle in your eye, say, what won't I do with my English degree? My fellow English majors, you've studied lives and passions through stories told by some of the most important thinkers and feelers in all of human history. You've unlocked great mysteries as you've studied Chaucer and Shakespeare and Whitman and Dickinson and on and on. I was always struck when studying a writer by their biographies, not just their work. They lived from this time to that, they were married or not, they had siblings or didn't. But the one fact that always burned itself into my mind was how and when and where they went to what universities. And what did they study there and how did it affect their work? Well, here it is today. You've now completed one of the most important narrative cycles in your lives. I say congratulations. As was noted earlier, since receiving my degree, I have been to Middle Earth and many other far-flung places. That's not alliteration. Okay. For this evening's affair, I propose to offer a limited but heartfelt perspective on what I've learned from three of the movies that are my kind of signature movies, the roles that I'm known for. And to, I don't know, give you some kernels that you can apply on your next films or whatever, AmeriCorps or wherever you're going. I love AmeriCorps. In fact, I would not have been able to go through the Lord of the Rings experience in any way with the sense of comfort and confidence I did if it wasn't for the skills that I learned here at this school, and so I will forever be grateful for that. The Goonies. I love that. Steven Spielberg, a host of excited young kids searching for gold, following their father, the museum curator's map. Here I learned to embrace the spirit of adventure, water slides and booby traps, etc. I learned that burning curiosity is often rewarded, and I learned that deep reverence can shape your views and mark your destiny. Of course, here I'm referring to the pirate One-Eyed Willie. If it wasn't for Mikey's singular fascination with this legend of a bygone era, the Goondocks would have been leveled. His passion for the man's creativity and ingenuity helped him to survive. So what can we take from this mid-1980s children's classic, not taught in 10B? Is that we can have adventures. You can have adventures. And they are sweetest when served up with a healthy dose of reverence for the greatness of something that's come before us. Rudy. No. Okay, so loud. Okay, 5'0" and desperate to play football for that other university that wears blue and gold. Not Bruin, blue and gold. But still pretty good. From Rudy, I learned something that I've always known to be true, and that is that pure grit and determination are qualities that will be your deliverance in anything and everything you do in life. The movie is indeed a valuable American story. In theater, in much art and philosophy, in really everything, deeply embedded in our national story is the issue of class. Lots of ways to think about it. Working class, the underclass, the literate class, that's you now, and on and on. The movie captures in a deeply emotional way how grit and determination can be the great equalizer of these differences between groups in our society. The movie also celebrates the value of a good education, you again. It illustrates that it's critical for us to have a true sense of ourself, that it's vital that we don't allow ourselves to accept the limitations or labels that others might put on us. Rudy is an example of how we can crawl out from under others' low expectations of us. We can throw off their judgment and bare-knuckle fight our way to an identity that feels right. We can carve out a personality that suits us, and we can manage our way toward the elusive region of happiness that our founding documents suggest may be out there. All of this when we cultivate a sense of ourselves. This you have all done, and I am confident that as Bruins, going forward, you will continue to dream big, to believe in yourselves, and refuse to let obstacles and the judgments of others inhibit your limitless potential. I had a pretty simplistic worldview going into the Lord of the Rings project. Perhaps a naive, idealistic, and in some ways even an enviable worldview. I knew from reading literature here at UCLA that the best writers and philosophers, one of my favorite books was Candide by Voltaire, resolve themselves, Voltaire, okay, sorry. Resolve themselves after much anxiety and questing to the basic premise that happiness is synonymous with home, and that cultivating your own garden can be the greatest approach to living a moral life. As for Sam, who he is and his importance to the story, it was simple and honest. I understood on a fundamental level that's what Sam meant to Tolkien. I knew that the gardener as a vocation, as an idea, the gardener as a mood or a tone, if you can think of it in terms of music, resonated in the most comfortable and confident place in my spirit. Playing that part gave me permission to slow down for a bit the manic way that I was approaching life, and to be the person or the hobbit that I knew it was right to be. kills me. What I've learned from Sam is that from an ideal literary character, we can see what's possible, if not yet manifest in the world. I've been asked often if I'm like Sam. Almost a hypnotic quality, waiting for the answer. Like Sam. No. No, I always say I'm not as good or as brave as Sam. And usually people are disappointed. Oh, you know, they were expecting. Such is the power of the medium, and such is the power of people's desires, that they wish to extend their feelings beyond the private, intimate feelings evoked during the experience of a movie into reality. Fiction sometimes overshadows reality. We want our dreams to be real. And I say that the qualities communicated through this type of story can be made true once we've established in our own lives the dignity that we so admire in the characters. Also, the stories can be recreated if you go to any number of fantasy or science fiction conventions. English majors are too busy to go do that. They dress up, it's a whole thing. This is my way of saying what every commencement speaker tries to impart. It's on you now. It's on you to deliver, to live lives of passion, to continue on, to make real the kinds of decency and selflessness that epitomize our beloved characters and stories. It's not good enough to leave them safely on your bookshelves or to forget the impact that your reading has had on you when the so-called real world tries to dig its claws into you. And we must all rely on each other. Fellowship of the Ring. Tattoos. Totally different. Let's not focus on that. Okay. I've enjoyed fellowship in many ways throughout my life. Spiritual fellowship, important fellowship in college here at UCLA, in sports, in making movies, with travel companions, especially with families. What I've learned about fellowship is that it can be fleeting. It's a sacred thing to wrap yourself in the embrace of your friends. People who've come through some stage or stages of your life with you. It is so important to relish every second of it. It's just some of what I've learned from fellowship, from Lord of the Rings. Also, there's awesome power in unity, and it's good to have an elf and a dwarf with you when taking on a cave troll. It really is. All said, what was it like to make the Lord of the Rings? It was, pretty good. Yeah, the people we met with a great many giants and legends because we were part of Lord of the Rings. Statesmen and women, rock stars, philanthropists, captains of industry, and the fans. Oh, the fans. So many fans. We met an awful lot of fans. Once I sat on the set and visited with Sir Edmund Hillary, the first man or second, depending on what you guess may be the story between him and Tenzing Norgay, his Sherpa, first to reach the daunting heights of Everest. Peter Jackson he sent a runner to the bookstore to purchase a copy of Hillary's book for me, A View from the Summit, and he gave it to me, and that giant of a man, the adventurer and humanitarian Edmund, signed my book and my $5 bill, the New Zealand $5 bill that has his picture on it. And I asked him, so how was it? How was what? The view. He thought for a minute and he said, it was pretty good. Which reminds me of a story of when Christine and I had just taken a final, and then we flew to and then we flew to Wyoming, and we were eating dinner in front of the big picture window in front of the Grand Tetons, and we were sitting with Buzz Aldrin. It was awesome. We were looking out at the full moon, and I looked back at him and I said, so, how was it? And he said, how was what? And I said, the view, from the moon. He said, it was pretty good. And so, in closing, graduates, as you leave this extraordinary undergraduate experience behind you and you look to your future and to the greatness you will achieve in this lifetime, I ask you, how's the view? It's awesome. Thank you very much.